Garcia, get makeup on her, please. Way back.
You are watching a dramatization of how Orange County police say missing bride Beth Conway, set to walk down the aisle 12 days ago, was murdered by this man, Jake Garcia, a bartender at Laguna's. Beth and her bridesmaids went to the bar the night before her wedding. Beth was later seen leaving the bar with Garcia, possibly against her will.
I didn't do it. She asked me to drive her home. I didn't force her to go.
Did anything happen between the two of you in the car?
No, she just wanted to talk.
About what?
Wedding jitters, cold feet about getting married, how her in-laws hated her, how she wasn't sure she wanted to settle down.
Why tell you? Did you know her?
No, but I'm a bartender. Everybody always talks to me.
Did anybody see you drop her off at the hotel?
I don't think so. I dropped her off at the end of the driveway. She asked me to. She didn't want anyone to see she was with me.
Beth was set to marry Greg Hall in front of 500 guests at Orange County's luxurious Clifftop Resort. This was going to be Beth's first marriage, Greg's second. Greg is the son of Orange County real estate developer Walter Hall. But the happiest day of their lives became a nightmare for Beth's parents, who staged a round-the-clock vigil outside the Orange County DA's office demanding that Beth's killer be brought to justice now.
They keep talking like she's dead. She's been missing for 12 days. They haven't even found her body.
Are they going to find her body?
What? No.
How do you know? If you didn't kill her, how do you know they won't find her body?
She told me she wasn't even sure she would marry the guy. And maybe she ran away. That could be.
Questioned by police for 12 hours, Garcia consented to a search of his car.
The bar you work for, Laguna's, it's a client of ours, a good client. I own part of it. My partners in the bar told you to pick up a phone and talk to me before you talk to the police.
The police told me it would look better for me if I spoke to them without a lawyer.
What'd you tell them?
Just that I wasn't with her at all that night.
You were, Jake. You just told us you drove her home.
They caught you in a lie? You have any idea how bad that looks?
If you did nothing wrong, why not tell the police what happened?
My girlfriend, Olivia. We're already having enough problems. She's a waitress at the bar, and she thinks I flirt with every girl that walks in. I didn't want her to know I drove Beth home. I was afraid she might think I was cheating on her.
Why are the Orange County Sheriff's deputies downstairs?
This Conway case is Orange County Sheriff's #1 priority. Thank you.
We are now live outside a standoff at T&G, the law firm.
How does a client interview get turned into a standoff?
The Orange County sheriffs must have been following him.
Yeah, with an arrest warrant in their pocket. They waited until you went someplace that would give them a good photo op. They're looking for the money shot, you being dragged away in handcuffs.
If they were able to get an arrest warrant, that means they found something in your car.
Her sweater. And she must have dropped it when she got out of the car.
Anything else we need to know?
Yeah, one more thing. When we left the bar, she was drunk and she was carrying her shoes. And on the way to the car, she cut her foot on some glass. Her blood might be in my car.
Yes.
Orange County Deputy District Attorney Richard Lane is on the phone for you.
You know this guy? Put him on.
Mr. Trott, Richard Lane. I'm handling the Jake Garcia case. You might not remember, but you and I met at a state bar conference.
Was it your stupid idea to ambush my client here?
Hey, I didn't know he was your client until my deputies tailed him to your office. Although, I should have guessed. You still own a piece of Laguna's, Mr. Trott?
Yeah, I do, and I don't appreciate you slandering the bar or Mr. Garcia. There's no murder here, there's no body.
I got some pretty distraught people down here who think he killed her. Look, I'll let Garcia plead to second-degree murder. If he tells us what he did with Beth's body, come on, she deserves a decent burial.
Give me half an hour. Let me talk my client into the deal.
You want to plead him out already?
I didn't kill anybody.
I'm not pleading anything out. I'm buying us time. Follow me.
Come on.
What the hell is Trout talking to the press for? I was gonna have a press conference down here.
My client has been hunted by the press, the police, and the Orange County DA's office ever since Beth Conway went missing. We want our chance to clear his name. We want to go to trial now.
Did Ron just commit us to going to trial in Orange County?
L.A., Orange County, Ron thinks we can win trials anywhere.
That's because Ron's never tried a case in Orange County. They don't like defense attorneys down there, especially LA defense attorneys.
My client, who stands before you, an innocent man. Let me say this to Beth Conway's parents. I am so sorry for what your family is going through. I pray that Beth will be found soon. And I want to help make that happen. So we're offering $1 million reward to anyone who can just let us know where she is. Beth Conway is alive, and we want her back. Thank you. 100% innocent.
I'm the innocent bystander. Somehow I got stuck between the rock and the hard place. And the lawyer's got me some money.
Like I always say, if you got the right lawyer with you, we've got the greatest legal system in the world.
Offering a reward was a bad idea.
Why? If she's dead, we never have to pay it. If she's alive, it's the best money we ever spent.
I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about trial strategy.
So am I. A reward creates doubt. Before, people were sure Beth Conway was dead. Now they've got a million reasons to doubt it.
Orange County isn't LA, Ron. It's more like where I grew up back in Nebraska. People don't like to think that you're trying to fool them. They hate stunts like this.
It wasn't a stunt. It was a way to send the media in another direction before every potential juror down there decides our client is guilty.
If Beth turns up dead, the jury down there will think it's a stunt and they will hold it against us.
Orange County is 35 miles from here, Tom. Are you telling me I don't know how to win a case because the courtroom is 35 miles away?
Orange County is more like 1,000 miles away. A typical L.A. juror is a different kind of guy. Different clothes, different styles, different life. More urban, more liberal, more showbiz. Registered Democrat, reads the LA Times or El Mundo, or both. Orange County jurors are most likely registered Republicans, conservative, churchgoers, Angels fans, NASCAR, regular folks. OC jurors are more likely to be pro-prosecution, and DA Lane is a hometown boy. My friends at the LA DA's office say he's ambitious, and sometimes he acts before he thinks.
The fact that he charged this case without a body proves that he acts before he thinks. Look, jurors are all the same. Give them a good story, you win. Give them a bad story, you lose. Runaway Bride is a good story.
Only if it's true.
Beth told Jake she was having second thoughts about the wedding.
Yeah, so where's she now?
Hiding. Once it hit the press, she was too embarrassed to come back like you were, Tom, when you pulled out of your wedding.
What? You were engaged?
Briefly. You know how I get when I'm waiting for a verdict.
Look, the DA can't prove a murder has been committed, let alone that Jake did it, because she could still be alive. She isn't a murdered bride. She's a runaway bride.
You're serious about sticking with this?
It's a great news hook, and it's guaranteed to create reasonable doubt. If the jury's not sure she's dead, how can they convict him of murder? Alden, look into the blood in Jake's car. It's the only physical evidence they have. See if there was enough for them to argue that she's dead. Tom, you're first chair. You deal with the client.
We did a background check on Jake. He's clean, no record.
Now do a background check on Beth. Did she have a motive to leave? A lot of people run away every year, and they always have a reason.
We need you looking confident at the bail hearing, Jake.
I'm sorry. It's just that Olivia didn't come to see me while I was in jail. I can't lose her.
Hey, if she loves you, you won't lose her.
You can't. In fact, you're going to do whatever it takes to keep her by your side. Understand?
I will. I love her.
Whether you do or not, act like you do. We need her sitting behind you at trial. If the jury sees you with a woman who loves you, it humanizes you. If she's not afraid of you, they shouldn't be. But you're never going to keep her by blubbering like this, so man up. It's Orange County. The airport is named for John Wayne, for God's sake. No whining.
Nice pep talk, Ron.
Earlier today, Jake Garcia, the prime suspect in the missing bride murder case, was released on bail.
This is not news. This is the law. The Constitution guarantees every defendant a reasonable bail.
Beth's maid of honor, Maggie Smart, is here with Greg Hall, Beth's fiance. Listening to Ron Trott must be so hard for both of you.
They should have held Garcia until he told us where we can find Beth.
Greg, what are your thoughts on Beth's alleged killer getting bail?
My first marriage ended in divorce. Beth was my second chance. She was the love of my life, so this is pretty hard.
She's been gone for 12 days. We all miss her so much. There's no way for us to heal or get closure.
As a former prosecutor and a crime victim.
Are we recording this?
Yeah, why?
The way the maid of honor touched the groom. Might have been friendly, might not. How you doing with the blood?
The Orange County DA's crime reports are a mess. I'm looking for an expert who can analyze them and testify for us at trial.
Make sure you use somebody from Orange County. The jurors down there like their local talent. They respond better to people from their community.
Like local lawyers. Maybe Ron should have thought about that before he took the case.
Olivia, you're my girlfriend. I was in jail. How could you not come see me?
Look, a big case is a lot of pressure, but you'll get through it together. Now, right now, we need to talk about exactly what happened that night. When did you first see Beth?
I told you, they came in around 11. They were having fun, except Beth, who looked really sad.
So you flirted with her to cheer her up?
I didn't flirt.
I was there, Jake. I saw it. Like every other night with you and the women customers. But if I talk to a guy for too long, you go crazy.
It scares me.
You want to talk about that now? I'm on trial for murder.
Did you see Jake leave with Beth?
No, I finished my shift and went home, like he should have.
I had to close up. Beth came back for her sweater, had a few more drinks, and then we talked about how she wasn't ready to get married.
You could relate to that, huh?
And what was I supposed to do? If she was too drunk to just leave her there?
Call a cab, have a waitress drive her home, mind your own business?
I was trying to be nice by driving her home.
And look where it got us. You know why I didn't see you in jail? Because I was scared, Jake. We got reporters outside the apartment, police following us, the phone hasn't stopped ringing. I haven't slept since this thing started. I don't know how much longer I could take this.
The police stopped looking for Beth when they arrested Jake, so we are going to conduct our own search for her. Look for signs that she is alive, people. Evidence that she used her email, passport, cell phone, or credit cards. See if she had a motive to run away. Dig into her relationships with her friends and her family. Then follow the tips that come in. Chart every sighting. Follow every lead. Just because the DA says Beth is dead does not mean that we accept it.
Are we looking for something like this?
So if we hired you as our expert, you'd say...
That the physical evidence is consistent with what Jake told us about Beth cutting her foot.
Jake still could have killed her outside the car.
Oh, is that what happened?
I have no idea. No lawyer ever knows what really happened. I just want to know what you say when the DA crosses you.
But you must have an opinion as to whether your client is guilty.
My colleague, Tom Nicholson, likes to think all our clients are innocent. He's a romantic. I prefer to assume they're all guilty. It's less disappointing that way.
So you're not a romantic?
Not about this. You're hired, by the way.
And we're back with Beth Conway's fiance, Greg Hall, and his father, real estate mogul Walter Hall.
If Garcia would tell us where he left Beth, we could at least bury her so she could rest in peace.
We just feel that...
It's not having a body that makes it so hard on our family and Beth's. She was a wonderful girl. My son is devastated.
Walter Hall is one of the richest men in Orange County, but I'm the one who had to put up the reward.
It's paying off. We've gotten over 100 reports of a woman matching Beth Conway's description from all over the world. We've also got credit card activity on her visa 2 days after she disappeared.
So she could be alive. I love it.
Well, folks are wrong about seeing her and someone stole her credit card. There is one thing. Beth's phone record shows she text messaged someone named Bennett the night she disappeared and planned to see him in LA the week after she was supposed to get married.
Who's Bennett?
We don't know. So we don't know if she kept the appointment.
So how does it help us?
She was supposed to be on her honeymoon the week after the wedding. In Italy, not LA.
You're gonna look pretty stupid when we win this case. That's why I'm offering you an exclusive with Jake's girlfriend.
Don't give me a half hour with Jake by himself. Maybe we can work something out.
You've prejudiced the jury pool against Jake enough. How about a little fair and balanced here?
Sorry, Ron. Different network.
How about an exclusive on new information? Beth's credit card was used in San Diego 2 days after the disappearance.
Don't try to sell me on this kid's innocence, Ron. We both know your real concern's the bar you own.
Partly owned. So what?
It makes me a more zealous advocate for Jake. And I haven't broken any ethics rules, have you? You're a walking billboard for Dolce & Gabbana. Look me in the eye and tell me you paid for that suit. Look, Beth's not a murder victim. She's a runaway bride. Go with that. It'll still get you ratings.
I'm not going to do a story about Jake Garcia or his family until after he's convicted. Now that, Ron, that'd be a good show.
The only thing the DA can prove is Jake's guilty of bad judgment. And like I tell my son, do not get into compromising positions with inebriated women.
Your son's 5 years old.
It's never too early to warn him. Jake admits he drove her to the hotel. Other than her sweater, the only evidence the DA has is the blood in the car. And our expert says it's consistent with Jake's story that she cut her foot, not that she was killed. No body, no case. We have tips that people have seen her alive. We have credit card activity after she disappeared. We have proof that she was setting appointments in LA for the week she was supposed to be in Europe on her honeymoon. The DA can't win this.
And he knows it. He got pushed by the victim's family into filing charges too soon. Classic DA screw-up. Let's make him pay for it. File a motion to dismiss now. We don't need to wait for trial. We can get this case dropped today.
This is Miranda Lee, our jury consultant. The first thing a jury always asks in a murder case is, does the defendant look like a murderer? Now, when Jake walks into that courtroom looking like a regular guy, with a woman who believes in him on his arm, it can make a big difference.
Public perception of your relationship is everything. You have to appear in love and in sync at all times.
People can tell that much by looking?
I can read your body language right now. You're afraid that Olivia will leave you again. Your body is angled towards hers. You're holding her hand with both of yours, signaling that you're trying to comfort her, but at the same time, you're afraid that she's gonna leave you.
Is that how you feel?
That's the image we want the jury to see.
If we win this hearing, it's over.
Pretty much.
There's a lot of press out here. Did you call?
I called 1 or 2 outlets, but look at this turnout. I told you, Runaway Bride was a great hook.
Thank you all for coming. The Orange County District Attorney's Office would like to make a brief statement. An anonymous tipster contacted the Sheriff's Department 5 hours ago and told them to search an area of the Newport Marina. We did. And we found Beth Conway's body.
Beth Conway's body was found wrapped in a tarp and anchored underwater to the base of a buoy at the Newport Marina Club. Authorities are searching the area for evidence.
So, Runaway Bride is out.
Yeah, you think?
We're trial lawyers. We adapt. Facts change, we deal with it. They have Beth's body now, but they still can't prove Jake killed her beyond a reasonable doubt.
Now, hold on. We do not want to be arguing reasonable doubt in front of an Orange County jury.
It's a valid defense.
It's the weakest one there is. It's what you argue when you have nothing else to say. To win this, we need to show the jury who the real killer is.
Great. Who was it?
Gee, I don't know. There were a lot of people at the hotel when she got dropped off. Any one of them could be a suspect.
Good, the more the merrier. What about the anonymous tipster? He told the police where to find Beth's body. Maybe he's involved.
We don't even know if it was a he. The problem is the law protects the tipster's identity.
Well, they record anonymous tips, right? We're entitled to the tape.
Tell Luther to see if we can identify the tipster through voice analysis, and tell him to find out who Bennett was, the guy she texted in L.A.
Beth's body is the most important piece of evidence in the case, which means we can't let the DA control the autopsy. Get a court order, take our expert. Go see Jake. Make sure the girlfriend's on board. We need the jury to see them together.
Where are you going?
Crystal Cathedral, as a guest of Reverend Schuler. Then the Angels game. I'm sitting in Artie Marino's box. I own a bar in Orange County. I want jurors down there to see I'm just like them. A business owner, a Christian, and an Angels fan.
Olivia left me. She's gone. I'm going to trial, and she's gone.
What happened?
We got into a fight, the worst. She said if I would have listened to her, none of this would have happened. When they found Beth's body, she freaked. I could see her thinking that maybe I did it.
She knows you're innocent. She'll be back.
I don't think she will. Them finding Beth's body is bad.
We've been looking for other suspects. We have other leads, Jake.
But they have a real case now.
Yes, they do. But it's okay, because you got us.
The temperature of the water combined with the tarp Mr. Garcia wrapped her in before dumping her kept her well preserved.
Could you spare us the prejudicial comments and stick with the facts? See that? There's the cut on her foot, which confirms Jake's story.
We'll get a photo of the cut on her foot?
If we have time.
Make time now. The defense has as much right to get evidence from the autopsy as the prosecution. We want that photo to prove our
The
case.
fact that she cut her foot has nothing to do with whether Garcia strangled her.
Take the photo. You want me to bring a judge down here to argue it? I'm sure he's not going to be happy.
I cannot pinpoint a time of death, but clearly the cause was asphyxiation by strangulation. Her larynx was crushed with enough force to cause splinter fractures in her C2 vertebra. She also has these contusions all over her arms.
Signs of a struggle. She fought back against Garcia, but he overpowered her anyway.
Bruises don't tell you who she struggled with. Could you save your arguments for the jury? It'll make things go faster.
Flip her over, please. Don't. Your court order says you're here to observe. That's all.
We're observing your medical examiner cutting corners. Flip her over now.
Fine. Do what she wants.
Okay. Anonymous tipsters are protected by victims' rights and witness laws. Defense has no right to the person's identity.
We are entitled to a copy of any audio tape you have of the tip. Look, I was a DA a long time. I know how important tipsters are. I convicted those guys who killed that sheriff's deputy out in Lancaster. Did you know that? Now, we broke that case through a tip. I respect tips.
For what it's worth, sounds to me like it came from a payphone.
She's by the buoy in Channel 4 of the marina.
That's the voice of the person who tipped the police off to the location of Beth's body.
A lot of background noise is going to take a while. Even if I figure out who it is, I might not be able to testify about it. A lot of judges won't admit voice meta-analysis as evidence.
You just figure out who the voice belongs to. We'll worry about your testimony later. Whoever it is might be the key to the case. Yes. That's who Bennett is? I want him served with a trial subpoena today.
Now is when you need to be there for him. Have you spoken to anyone about the case since you moved out?
The Orange County DA called me. I haven't called him back. He wants to know if Jake was ever violent with me.
He wasn't.
How do you know?
Because Jake has no record of it. And you're not the kind of woman who would stay with him if he had been. Right? You love him.
Yeah, but I should have left him after he wouldn't get engaged to me.
Why wouldn't he?
Because he's stupid and he doesn't listen. I told him to quit the bar and go back to school. But he'd been a busboy here and worked his way up. He'd seen how much those women were willing to spend to hang out with the bartenders. He doesn't appreciate me, so why should I wait around for him?
You couldn't love him if he was capable of doing something like this. Don't turn your back on him now.
Mr. Bennett, sir. Luther Graves, TMT&G. How can I help you?
You subpoenaed me for the Garcia murder trial.
Yes, that's right. I hope that doesn't inconvenience you.
Why are you calling me? I don't have anything to do with this case, and I don't want to be involved.
Really? Not involved? Well, I hope we didn't subpoena the wrong person. We checked her phone records. Beth Conway set an appointment to see you the week after she disappeared. Did she keep that appointment with you?
I can't tell you that. That's privileged. Attorney-client.
Yes, it is. But that privilege belongs to Beth Conway, not you. Only she can assert it. You could help save an innocent man from being convicted by telling us if you met with her.
Beth never showed up for our meeting.
Can you tell us why she wanted to meet with you?
Absolutely not. I will not divulge the content of our conversation. That is strictly confidential.
I see. What type of civil law do you practice, Mr. Bennett? Now, that's not privileged information. You can't tell me that. The State Bar says your specialty is family law and estate planning. You write a lot of prenuptial agreements, Mr. Bennett.
I bet you were doing one for Greg Hall and Beth Conway.
Okay, the DA's story is that Beth Conway was strangled by a person facing her. But when we flipped her body over, I found something. The bruises on her neck indicate that she wasn't strangled that way. Watch. Now, I took the autopsy photos and I made a 3D recreation. If Beth'd been strangled from the front, the bruises on her neck would have been at these angles. Marks on Beth's neck don't look like that. See, instead of overlapping thumb marks in the front,
She's got a center thumb mark bruise on the back of her neck.
it's more consistent with someone strangling her from behind. So, based on that new information, I approximated the size and the shape of the killer's hands. And then I took measurements of Jake Garcia's hands.
And what do the results of your demonstration tell us, Dr. Shaw?
That the Orange County medical examiner is mistaken. Beth Conway could not have been strangled by Jake Garcia. The damage to Beth's C2 vertebrae was much more significant than the damage to her larynx.
Miranda, you're the consultant. What do we need?
She needs a bright-colored suit. Anything but red. Something these women would wear themselves. They don't love women lawyers, at least not dressed like Alden. Too slick, too polished, too Hollywood.
So Alden will go Laura Bush, we'll tone down our suits, and I'll switch my Cartier to a Timex. We still have our secret weapon, Tom. What the hell's going on? The dials are going down. Is it our expert?
If you want my opinion, I think they like Dr. Shaw. What they hate is the demonstration.
We used something like it last year and it scored off the charts.
That's L.A., Ron. Orange County jurors are suspicious of theatrics.
So what are you telling me? We can't try cases out of L.A.?
Tom's sincerity works great, everywhere. Luther's background as an ex-prosecutor gives him high numbers across the board. Alden has problems in the South and Midwest, but you dress her right, she's fine.
And?
You're good in L.A., Ron. Want my advice? Hire some local counsel, give yourself some OC cred. It'll help.
I stripped out a lot of the background noise.
This is by the buoy from Channel 4 of the Marina.
Sounds like a man.
It could be a woman with a low-pitched voice. I can tell you one thing. I asked your client for an exemplar. Listen.
She's by the buoy in Channel 4 of the Marina.
No way it's your guy.
We need to compare it to the voices of the people who had a motive to kill Beth Conway. One of them might be the anonymous tipster.
Then I'll need more voice samples.
We record every press conference and TV report. If somebody involved in this case was a tipster, we'll have their voice.
Broadcast audio is not good enough.
No problem. We'll get it from the courtroom. So, what's our story? Who are we going to say killed Beth Conway?
I vote for the groom, Greg. Beth left him the night before they were supposed to get married to go have a drink with another guy. Now that's gotta hurt. And Greg's old girlfriend told me that Walter Hall has a temper. Maybe Greg does too.
The maid of honor is a better candidate. She dated Greg and she never got over him, right?
Plus, we could see it when they were on the news the other night.
She couldn't have moved the body by herself. Maybe she was working with somebody else, but I doubt it.
Go back to Walter Hall. According to Beth's lawyer, Walter wanted her to sign a prenup. Greg said he was married before, right? The first wife walked away with millions from the family. Walter does not seem like the kind of man who would let that happen again.
Beth refused to play ball, could have set him off.
Killing your daughter-in-law because she wouldn't sign a prenup? I don't buy it.
Then you don't know enough rich people. Money is exactly what they kill for.
I'm going to ask again, who are we going to say killed Beth?
Why choose? Let's point to as many people as possible.
I don't like the shotgun approach.
Why?
Why? Because it doesn't work. We need to pick one. It'll make us look more credible to the jury.
We don't need to look more credible. We have you. We need to throw as many suspects as we can against the wall and hope something sticks to make reasonable doubt. Period.
Any of them could have done it? That's not a story, Ron. That's not anything.
We don't need a story. All we need are questions. Good questions about Maggie, Greg, Walter, whoever. Put enough good questions together, you got a beautiful mosaic called reasonable doubt. You just have to paint it right.
Jake Garcia faces justice in an Orange County courtroom and 2 families seek closure. The Conways and the Halls. They gathered for marriage, but they got murder. On the eve of the trial, TNT&G added legendary Orange County litigator Wayne Dornan to the team.
Great to have Wayne aboard. Don't talk.
It's a nice suit.
Shut up.
Great. Our cute expert sees me dressed like my mother. I hate Orange County.
You and the other bridesmaids saw Beth with Garcia at the bar.
Garcia was hitting on Beth really hard. He was giving her free drinks all night.
Did she appear to be drunk?
Yes, and he kept on pouring.
After everyone got home from the bar, when did you next see Beth?
I didn't. I went to her room at 6 the next morning to wake her up because, you know, she had to go get her hair done. But the bed was still made and she wasn't there.
Thank you. Your witness.
You and Beth were best friends, right? You were her maid of honor.
We were very close, like sisters. I talked to her every day.
You dated Greg, didn't you?
That was a long time ago.
3 years.
This is Tom's voice. This is Maggie's.
Yeah, but
And this is the tipster.
she's by the buoy in Channel 4 of the marina.
She's not the tipster.
The one who introduced them.
Did you have feelings about Greg being with Beth?
Yeah, I was happy for them.
Did you tell Greg that Beth was flirting with Jake? These are the hotel phone records. You called Greg in his hotel room at 2 in the morning. Is that when you told him about Beth and Jake?
Yes.
Why would you do that? Why would you tell him his fiancée had gone back to a bar to see a man she had been flirting with?
I didn't do it to be mean. I don't know why I did it.
Mr. Hall, your son Greg was devastated when Beth didn't show up for the wedding. But 2 days after Beth disappeared, you asked for your deposit back for the ballroom of the hotel.
It was a lot of money.
You also asked Beth to sign a prenuptial agreement.
I was trying to protect Greg and the family.
Is that because Greg's first wife walked away with $10 million of your family trusts? That must have made you furious when that happened, didn't it?
Didn't make me happy?
Did Beth sign the agreement?
No.
So this wedding was a risk for you. If they got divorced, you could be out millions, right?
Only if they got divorced.
Which they easily could have. That's why you wanted Beth to sign the...
The vocal pitch and the pronunciation of vowels are similar.
Is it a match?
I need more data.
You have a sailboat, Mr. Hall?
Yes. The boat hasn't moved in about a year. You can check the marina's records.
Who owns that particular marina?
I do.
Right. So you control all the records, and you could change them.
I didn't change anything.
Thanks, Greg. You're a witness.
You must have been upset when Maggie Smart told you that Beth went back to the bar to see a man.
I wasn't upset.
What about jealous?
No.
Surprised? I mean, it was the night before your wedding. Well, your second wedding. Hearing that your fiancée was already going to bars without you.
I didn't kill her, all right?
No further questions.
I didn't kill her, all right?
You know who told the police where to find Beth's body. This is the voice pattern of the anonymous tipster. This is Maggie Smart. The pitch and the intonation of the two samples are very different. This is Walter Hall. His pitch and intonation are similar to the tipster's, but not a match. This is Greg Hall.
She's by the buoy in Channel 4 of the marina.
Is there a match?
Father and son have vocal similarities. That's why it took longer to identify.
Greg's the one who told the police where her body was. He's the anonymous tipster. Unbelievable.
So we know who to blame, Greg.
If he did it, why did he report him missing?
Guilt. Guilty people tend to feel guilty.
But he's already off the stand. This judge won't let me recall him.
Even if you could recall him, he could just deny he made the call. And we couldn't impeach him. The law protects the identity of tipsters. Even if it didn't, we can't use vocal recognition evidence. There are a few judges who will admit voice analysis into evidence, but this judge won't. He kicked out my in limine motion to introduce it.
You know, Greg killed her, or he knows who did, but we can't prove it.
So let's call Dr. Shaw and do a demonstration. He's ready.
We can't. Miranda said it tanked with the mock jury and it will not play in Orange County.
Jurors don't just want to hear something, Tom. They want to see it. The demonstration lets them do that.
That demonstration is just as likely to alienate the jury as it is to convince them.
It worked once before, not for us, but it definitely worked.
In OJ, Ron. It worked in OJ. It's if it don't fit, you must acquit. Do you know how badly that's going to play in Orange County? You don't get it, do you? Half of the jury already thinks you're Robert Shapiro as it is.
Tom's right, Ron. Why remind them of that case?
It still worked.
You know what works? Not telling me how to try the case. First, you pull that reward stunt. Yes, stunt. And then you have us do the kitchen sink defense, and now you want me to pull a Johnny Cochran, who was a great trial lawyer, but he would never do that demonstration down there, ever.
You're the one trying the case. It's your call. If you don't want to do the demonstration, don't do it. I think it's suicide not to, but it's your call.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you. That helps a lot. You ever feel like Ron manipulates you?
All the time. How'd you think he got me to join his firm? It's time to call your shot, Tom.
Your Honor, we call Dr. Matthew Shaw to the stand. Doctor, in your opinion, what caused the bruises on Beth's neck?
They were made by the hands of the person who strangled her. As you can see, there are marks consistent with how someone would have placed their hands around Beth's neck. The marks are also located exactly where the damage to her larynx and spine was.
Dr. Shaw, is it possible to see a 3D image of those bruises?
Yes. Using a technique called photogrammetry, I scanned all the photographs of the different angles of the bruising on Miss Conway's neck into a computer. The program takes those images and creates a three-dimensional picture.
Now, Doctor, could you explain the exhibit that's set up in the courtroom?
Yes. I've created a to-scale model of Beth Conway's torso. It has sensors directly underneath the surface designed to register body heat and pressure. Now, those sensors then transmit a signal to this computer, which in turn transforms that information into a visual image that can be laid over the same 3D model you see on the screen.
Mr. Garcia, would you approach the exhibit, please? Mr. Garcia, would you please place your hands around the dummy's neck? Now squeeze as hard as you can.
Now, if you'll wait just a moment, you'll see Mr. Garcia's handprint appear.
What do the prints show?
That Mr. Garcia's fingers are shorter than the bruises.
Your Honor, I ask the court to command Greg Hall step into the well of the courtroom.
Your Honor.
Not as a witness, as part of the demonstration. He's not going to be sworn or asked to give testimony, so he has no Fifth Amendment right to refuse. Was the DA going to object? Mr. Hall? I'd like my client to stand next to Mr. Hall and face the jury. Gentlemen, would you each raise one hand and hold it up for the jury to see?
You want a story? Here's a story. Jake Garcia wanted to sleep with Beth. He left Lagunas with her. He was the last person to see her alive. Her blood was found in his car. She refused him. He killed her. Means, motive, opportunity. End of story. You know, it's not a Hollywood story. It's the truth. Don't let them trick you.
I'm telling you, go with the shotgun closing, hit all the suspects hard. We have to argue reasonable doubt.
I'm saying stay with Jake. His hands were too small to do this.
No. Reasonable doubt is a loser. I don't want the jury talking about Jake in the jury room. I want them talking about Greg. Thanks for the advice. I don't know what happened that night. The DA doesn't know either, but that didn't stop him from blaming my client. Could Greg have been angry enough over Beth going to the bar to kill her? The family has a sailboat. Could Greg have used it to put her body in the water? I don't know. I wouldn't want to guess, and you can't. God only knows who killed Beth. It's not your job to play God. On these facts, your job is to find my client not guilty.
You think they'll be out long?
I hope so. Juries in Orange County usually deliberate pretty fast if they're gonna convict.
I bet they get engaged out of this. If they stick together through trial, they usually get engaged. They're back already.
I understand the jury's reached a verdict. In the matter of the people of the state of California versus Jake Garcia on the charge of murder in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
I love you. Nice work, Wayne. I agreed with everything you said, and if we ever open an office branch down here, I'll call you. But I wouldn't hold my breath. Let's get the hell out of here and go home.